Welcome back. For those who have been following, we are at step 2, part 3. And at this point of the steps, everybody should have a copy of their birth certificate in all caps. And Lee will explain why. Hello, Lee.
Hello. Yes, she's correct. I made a mistake and I apologize. The very first step is to get your birth certificate so that you get it in an all capital letter name because you're going to use that to create bonds. Okay? And the bond, that's the main purpose of it. That's the evidence of the bond we're going to make because we're all bankers. If you have a bank account, you're a banker. And so then you can bank. And at the end of this process, you'll learn how to bank. And so that should catch people's interest there. But the thing is this, okay? So grab your birth certificate before you start the process, and definitely don't do the first video with Anna von Reitz's expatriation, repatriation, because you want to have all these things secure before you would ever even take that step. Especially, well, I guess you could skip the secured party, but I don't know why anyone would want to do that because then you're going to go out in commerce, and there you are, without having the commercial vehicle secured to yourself. Now, with that said, I'm going to touch on the last part just a little bit in the beginning of this part. And what that would be is how important that common law copyright notice is, because actually it's going to set you up for this part that I'm getting ready to do in this part, which is the statutory declaration of true name and notice, which is a notice that goes into the public, and declaration of law. That's your law. Govern yourself or be governed. Now you're choosing to govern yourself with this process. That's the main point that I should point out right now. And jurisdiction. Okay, so it's statutory declaration of true name and notice and declaration of law and jurisdiction. Okay, and so the common law copyright that we from the last segment, this expounds upon the vehicle that we're going into specifically, what that vehicle is and all of the variations of that vehicle. And the reason I say that is because they use all of these different variations, and you'll see as this reads out. Now, another thing, every time that I say my name or a variation of my name that we're expounding upon in this document, it's going to be all capital letters, unless I point that out specifically, because it's a lot of all capital letters, so I'll say that. Okay, and so now this is also an affidavit of truth. So once you put it into the public on the public record and no one rebukes it, it stands as fact under law and can be introduced as evidence of the fact under law. And it's also a contract. So with that said, I'll go ahead and I'll start the statutory declaration. Now, this has got a long title on it, but we only use 4 letters in our numbering. This is a numbered document. You'll need to number it with your initials in all capital letters, and then your 18th birthday, just like the other document, and then we'll use the SDTN, standing for Statutory Declaration of True Name, because that's the beef of it, is the name that you're laying out here. And the name is not your name, okay? You're saying what your name is, and that'll be the lowercase part. But you're separating yourself further, your identity further from this commercial vehicle within which they created at your birth. And that's why this is a life, thing. It's about, all this is about being alive. And so that way they can't have us dead. If you're alive and you can prove it on paper, then you're alive. Okay, so here we go with the statutory declaration here. Okay, so we title this thing Statutory Declaration of True Name and Notice and Declaration of Law and Jurisdiction. My number is RLT 240689-SDTN. And then here's the document. I, lowercase, Robert Lee Thomas Jr., copyright, sovereign, secured party, and creditor, and natural and free man of the land, do solemnly and sincerely declare the following affidavit of truth. And that's another reason we'll want to put it in the public. Okay. Now, this has 33 parts. There's 33 claims on the document, and they are numbered. Okay. So, number one, and this will be all lowercase in this sentence. Matter of fact, we're all lowercase until we get down to number 7.
Okay.
So the first part of it's actually lowercase.
Okay.
So number 1, I am Robert Lee Thomas Jr. Copyright. Synonym, natural born, adult living man with the given name, : Robert Lee, period. I hold the family name of Thomas. Now that's how part 1 reads. Now part 2. Robert Lee Thomas Jr. Copyright is my lawful name by birthright. Okay, period. Number 3. I am who I say I am, not who or what any person, statutory legislative policy enforcer, corporate administrator, or government documents say I am. Number 4. I am created only by God and am subject only to my Creator. Number 5. I am a sovereign, political power holder, secured party, creditor, and natural and free man of the land, unbound by all statutory and legislative restraints. Number 6. I am a transient traveler in this world, which I am not of, period. Okay, now we're down to number 7, and it's all capital unless I point it out.
Okay.
Number 7. I absolutely bear no relation to the fictitious and trust entities of, right? Robert Lee Thomas Jr., Robert Thomas, Robert L. Thomas, R. L. Thomas, R. Thomas, Thomas Robert Lee, Thomas Robert L., Thomas R. L., Thomas R., lowercase Robert Lee, all uppercase Thomas, lowercase Robert, uppercase L. Thomas, etc. Now I put here, you'd put a greater than, equal, lesser than sign, and then and the reason is because I'm a junior. Okay, and so I've got a capital junior, both lowercase junior, and then a junior with a capital J and a lowercase r, and then etc. again. These are but the name of an artificial person or ens legis. Okay, and that's number 7. Now, number 8. I am the secured party creditor, holder in due course, and authorized representative for the juristic person entities of Robert Lee Thomas Jr., Robert Thomas, Robert L. Thomas, R. L. Thomas, R. Thomas, Thomas Robert Lee, Thomas Robert L., Thomas R. L., Thomas R., lowercase Robert Lee, all upper Thomas, lowercase Robert, all upper L. Thomas, etc. Greater than, equal, less than, with the junior stuff on it, and then etc. Number 9. I am not an accommodation party, nor a surety for the debts of Robert Lee Thomas Jr., Robert Thomas, Robert L. Thomas, R. L. Thomas, R. Thomas, Thomas Robert Lee, Thomas Robert L., Thomas R. L., Thomas R., lowercase Robert Lee, uppercase Thomas, lowercase Robert, uppercase L. Thomas, etc. Greater than, equals, less than, the junior, etc. Okay, does not represent, and neither is to be confused with any of the said entities listed above. Okay. Now, number 10. the lowercase me, Robert Lee Thomas Jr., is correct and lawful name for myself, the natural flesh and blood being, and is a unique, distinct, and separate name from any unlawful, government created, fictional, commercial version of my name that resembles my name. This distinction has been lawfully established and recognized in the public register under oath per UCC 1 financing statement and all supporting documents. Lowercase, Robert Lee Thomas Jr. holds and controls a $100 million lien and secured commercial interest against the fictitious government corporation, all uppercase, Robert Lee Thomas Jr., created from my birth certificate unlawfully and without my permission or my mother's permission. This security interest is the first right of claim, and I am the holder in due course over all assets and property of this fictitious corporate body. I am also indemnified of all liability from this entity. Number 11. I shall at times hereafter, in all records, deeds, documents, and other writings, and in all actions, proceedings, as well as in all dealings and transactions, on all occasions whatsoever, use and subscribe the said name of lowercase Robert Lee Thomas Jr. Copyright. Also relinquished as aforesaid to the intent that I am to be called, known, or distinguished by my name of lowercase Robert Lee Thomas Jr. only. Number 12. I authorize and require all persons at all times to designate, describe, and address me by my correct name. Number 13. I received all signatures executed in my natural and representative capacities on any documents or instruments made in my natural name or fictitious legal entity that have failed to fully disclose risks, perils, and responsibilities within them. Number 14. I, lowercase, Robert Lee Thomas Jr., am my own authority. No man or fiction has jurisdiction over me. Number 15. I revoke all powers of attorney and all adhesion contracts of legislation, statutes, and acts with government created entities that I have been unwittingly or unwillingly been drawn into. Number 16. Lowercase. Robert Lee Thomas Jr. Copyright is copywritten. See copyright notice RLT 2406889CN. Take notice of the fee of $1 million per incident of copyright violation and infringement. Number 17. I am recognized and known by my Christian appellation, lowercase Robert Lee Thomas Jr., copyrighted. If I choose to respond, it is only to such Christian appellation. I am not a corporation, nor a person. Therefore, no legislative court shall ever obtain personal jurisdiction over me. Responding to my name will not allow statutory jurisdiction, and no subject matter jurisdiction shall apply to me. Number 18. I cannot use copyrighted codes, statutes, rules, or regulations against any legislative or executive body. Therefore, no legislative nor executive body can use said copyrighted codes, statutes, rules, or regulations against me, and said court fails to obtain in rem jurisdiction over me. Number 19. I have no residence within any geographical jurisdiction. I do not reside within any political jurisdiction, and I am not a magistrate of any federal, foreign, fictional government. So I have no entourage for any residency. I keep house within the geographical West Virginia Republic, or in whatever republic I so choose. Therefore, there is no state within a state of federal jurisdiction, nor is there a political overlay of federal area of zone improvement plan. Therefore, there is no federal jurisdiction over me, nor is there obtainable any venue jurisdiction over me. Number 20. I am not a public office holder or a franchise. Number 21. I have a right to travel freely without permission or license from any government agency. Number 22. I recognize the use of Federal Reserve notes as contraband and gambling tokens issued, maintained, and controlled within the private realm of a private corporation. Therefore, I do not own, handle, or utilize any of them outside of the rule of necessity, which is a rule of common law, originating well before the establishment of the British colonies on American soil. Therefore, using only barter, silver, and where absolutely necessary under said ancient rule, Federal Reserve notes, which are of no substance, no legislative court or executive agency shall obtain any substantive jurisdiction over me. Number 23. I recognize that the all capital United States, the United States capitalized, has been bankrupt since 1933, and there is no lawful money of exchange available to pay any debt or to pay any fines, fees, licenses, penalties, child support, alimonies, court costs, etc. I cannot be contemnor, as I am in contempt of nothing. So let me say that again. I cannot be contemptor, as I am in contempt of nothing. No private man, nor corporate body or agency thereof, can demand that I do what cannot be done. As it is impossible to pay for anything, no fictional corporation, or excuse me, no fictional corporate governmental body can demand that I do the impossible. Therefore, no legislative court or executive agency shall obtain any legislative or executive jurisdiction over me. Number 24. I am not aware of the existence of any judicial branch of any level of true Republican government, nor is any available to me. Therefore, no judicial jurisdiction is obtainable over me. Number 25. I am aware that any alleged statutory jurisdiction or courts are unlawful and cannot exist under the Constitution's jurisdictional mandates. I am also aware that this hidden jurisdiction has no known defense, rules, and is coerced against unwitting people by trickery and deception perpetuated by evil and corrupt judges who are banking representatives using twisted legal jargon to capture jurisdiction to imprison flesh and blood bodies so prisoners' bid bonds can be sold for illegal profit and gain to corporations, world banks, and nations via the U.S. District Court. Number 26. I am not a citizen, a United States citizen, a 14th Amendment citizen, nor in any manner do I cite I Zen. I am therefore not an enemy of the state under any fictional corporate charter regulations, and no corporate jurisdiction is obtainable over me to condemn me to a category of enemy of any state. Number 27. My Constitution is the Holy Writ, and I claim only one color, that being the color of white, in the form of a flag of truce, making known to all that I have no controversy with any. I have no license to operate contrary to true law. I have no permit to temporarily suspend true law. Therefore, no admiralty or maritime or martial law jurisdiction is obtainable over me. Number 28. I observe only the true laws brought forward by the ancient and holy writ, engulfing all established within principles of the Ten Commandments and the later commandments to love the Lord my God with all my mind, soul, and body, and to love my neighbor as myself. This is my political establishment. Therefore, no fictional political jurisdiction is attainable over me. Number 29. I exist only in and respond only to my Christian appellation, lowercase Robert Lee Thomas Jr. I do not recognize nor give cognizance to any fictional corporate entity, nor do I recognize any of their agents. No fictional quasi-governmental agent can obtain party with me. Therefore, no jurisdiction of agency is obtainable over me. Number 30. I am in my true character a private man upon the soil, maintaining, only as a private man can, the right of soil. I am not a reflection, image, fiction, or other person. I own and maintain my own person for the purpose of contracting in the realm of commerce in a lawful and upright manner. My word is my bond when dealing with men. I offer my signature when contracting with fictional entities in commerce. Said signature, sig equals no, nature equals alive, means no nature, thus not alive. Is a bond age offered unto debt-death. For this reason, such scribble is called cursive writing, cursed communication with the dead, the fiction. A dead government, agency, principle, court, or corporation cannot possibly interact with a living, breathing, flesh and blood, spiritual being, which I declare that I am. This is not possible in any way, as one is dead and one is alive. Number 31. By being responsible for my own person under true law, I exercise my personal rights, referred to by Thomas Jefferson, and maintain my lawful standing, impeccable under law. I do not yield character jurisdiction over me or my person, and I claim common law jurisdiction. I do not consent and waive the benefits. Number 32. I retain my right at all times to live a naturally lawful and peaceful life. And then number 33. And I make this solemn declaration consciously, believing the same to be true, and by virtue of the provisions of the Statutory Declarations Act of 1835, respectfully presented by signature there, and then agent, lowercase Robert Lee Thomas Jr., copyright Sue Jarvis. And then we get it notarized. Without prejudice, UCC 1308, formerly 1207. And so that should spontaneate a lot of new questions. It really should.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, look, we cover our bases, we cross our T's and dot our I's,
That's
and
right.
we collect the evidence, you know, and, you know, I'll tell you what, the Bible prophesies that these people are going to shake in their shoes, and you can believe me. Imagine when the time comes and think that, I mean, they spent all of eternity collecting and Scrooging and doing like Scrooge, and look at the little children that starve and shame, 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 shame. They got the money, they got it all. What the hell? I mean, you know, what's wrong with you people? You like that money so well, and that's the hardest thing that's going to be on them is to reverse all that crap they did in one large swoop.
If you
So
think of the planet Earth you think of money. Because if it wasn't for money, probably wouldn't even be any division.
And it's
Think
like a
about it.
religion
Think
to
about it
me.
all.
That yeah, that's the religion. Money, one eye. Look on
It's
the back of the
all
dollar bill.
money,
Yes. And so,
not just.
this
Go ahead.
lays the claims down to your jurisdiction. It lays out what your law is that you govern yourself by. Now, how can that be penetrated? And you have a right to exercise that religion, and they're the ones that are under codes and under contract and under all that thing. And so when you notice them with this stuff publicly, do you think they're going to write you and say, "Oh, you can't do this, or you can't do that"? No. And so they take note if you do these things correctly.
And you know
They
what?
take note. That's how I can show you my birth certificate that has a lowercase name. Well, my name is lowercase, my mother's name is lowercase, and that's why I said get your birth certificate first, because you're going to get a birth certificate with your correct name on it if you do these procedures correctly. And at the
Right.
bottom line of it all is we will have a correct sentence structure, communication, foresight, syntax, grammar, live wife document at the very, very end of this. And so that, and you construct this document yourself and you port this document at their post where they've got you crucified and the whole 9 yards of it. The post office, I'm a postmaster because of knowledge. And we're all postmasters. But you have to understand that. See, I'm a notary, I'm an emboser. I'm an ambassador. I'm a diplomat. And it's all knowledge that allow you to acquire. Without the knowledge of things, how do you know? And you're not supposed to know something until you become aware of it. And then once you become aware of it, then you're supposed to learn it. And that's all he holds us to, is to what he lays on us, you know.
And I feel like this process, if you just stop and take a step back, even though it's a lot, the whole process is we are created in his image, period.
That's right.
It's just about getting not even our freedom, because it might not matter. Most of these documents we keep to ourselves. It's just the fact and principle that, how do I say it? Because you know what I'm trying to say, Lee. We talk about it all the time.
Well, let me say this, okay? This is mainly the people who are exposed to this is Santos's group, and they're already fly on how this stuff works. Right? Everybody's fly on how it works. And so this is the interworking of the law. They did this to us through the law, so the key is through the law, and that's the key. And it's the use of the opening locks and closing locks. Okay? And knowing how to do it, and knowing what the vehicle is, and having control with the volition. That's your intent. See, my volition is this. See? And we use our intent correctly. And so now, I think that this process is actually, that blood intent. As far as I'm concerned, when this stuff is posted, I'm telling you what my blood intent is. I mean, and that's it. And so,
but what I was going to say is, just like you said, Santos's group is the main group exposed to this so far. But I feel like if anybody is led to this information, they're going to be able to see with a different set of eyes if they can even see these videos, period. So I feel like,
yeah, you have to.
Right. So
I feel like
research
everything I say. Look, don't take my word for these things. Go and say, well, is Lee crazy or is this real? And you're going to, if you do that, you will find out I'm not a liar. I don't lie. And if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself immediately. And it's like eating the meat. Boom. As soon as the salve was wiped out of my eyes and I saw that truth, oh my God, it shocked me.
Right.
I don't like sinning. I don't like doing that stuff. And I certainly don't like being part of a death cult and all those things that come with that, and all the karma and all the everything. I'm like, oh my God. It almost killed me with a heart attack.
And I feel like those that are really doing this process, even though it's tedious and it's scary at times, I feel like since we're already seeing with spiritual eyes, is what I'll just call them, we're going to be protected from the Most High, because that's the whole root of the reason we're doing this.
And I'll pray it right now for anyone listening to these words. You have divine protection, prosperity, and you have divine healing, because this heals your mind, which will heal your body, which will heal your being. And that's the bottom line. And this is the truth being revealed in a format of the law. It's the sync part of the law part. It's like I'm a specialist here or something. I don't know, but it's a good thing. It's not bad at all. Just in that one little part of, but it just happens to be the key. and I claim to be keymaster, and I will go to the Vatican and unlock the accounts. They can't keep them. If this lifeboat sails, they're dead, which means they're liquidated. That's what it means to be dead in commerce. That's their word, not mine. Dead.
And it's not
And
if
it's
this
funny.
lifeboat
Well, it's
sails,
funny.
it will.
Yeah, it's funny that they have their own time of death that they've been trying to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it's either they serve up death on everyone or everyone serves up death on them, because one or the other is going to happen here.
Right.
I
Well,
mean, really. So
this,
we've got one more part, and it's probably the most important. It's the security agreement, and that is the security blanket, okay, of this whole deal. And that will wrap up the actual documents you have to put in that financial statement. Then we'll get to the financial statement.
so on the steps that we've covered so far, A, get a copy of your birth certificate. B, reserve your rights, and you know the steps. And then continue
C,
on to
create
what?
these. Yeah, C would be create these documents that we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
To get them, get your name on them, get the ones notarized that need to be notarized. Now, you don't have to record anything until you need to record something.
Right.
You can put it into the public with the notary. And so we're going to keep them private. This is our private record we're building so that we have evidence of these things. Okay, that's what it's all about. And so we'll go ahead and cut this one, and we'll make the next document. And it's rather long. I apologize for that, but it's rather thorough as well.
And just to be clear on one last point, if we have bills or our bills that are in our name in all caps, we should start putting those aside.
Yes, matter of fact, more than putting them aside, take it out, make a photocopy of the tag. Print the page that's got the tag that you tear off at the bottom. You're supposed to send with your bill. You send them a photocopy back in. Don't send them that original. That's yours. You make a photocopy, clip it off, and send it in with your payment. And use a money order. That's the best way. You use a money order because that's a gold-backed currency right there, and that means that you got. They don't accept it in the United States, but everywhere else in the world, it's gold. And so, and it's still gold because it's going through the post. Everything goes through that post. You're paying freight on these things. But anyway, I'm not trying to confuse anyone. But the thing is, just keep those documents because that's your evidence. Now, technically, you only need one, to prove that they did it. But it's nice to have multiple counts.
Okay.
See, multiple counts, yeah. And you're talking $25 million fines for every single corporate thing that they break the codes under like that. So they set the code, and then they break it.
Right.
But they twist it to where it doesn't look like they're doing anything. And we think it's on us, but it's not. See how you just separated yourself from all their jurisdiction? You lay down what your law is that you govern yourself with. And you're telling them, this is my true name, this other stuff, it belongs to me. I've got the higher claim, I'm the holder in due course. And now, if they did not create that for you, then they created it to defraud you. See? And they say that they laid it out. This is what their excuse is. Well, we put it in the newspaper when the baby was born, and nobody came in and claimed anything. So it sat there and it went to waste, and that's government waste, and we can't allow that. So we'll use it.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't say anything about it, so it wasn't disclosed. So it's fraud. It's fraud, all the way fraud, 100% provable under the codes of their own laws, and it comes with fines and jail time and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, they're really going to shake in their shoes. I just see it in the future for them.
Well,
because people don't want to remain stupid who are waking up now, do they?
right.
Think about it. And so God bless us all with this knowledge and comprehension of this knowledge. May we have
discernment and understanding and the will. Get up and go do it.
Yeah, that's all you got to do is just take the action, and then and this is each person stepping out of their own volition. Okay? So all right, let's cut this one and we'll make a new one.
All right. Well, that was step 2, part 3. We'll be back shortly.